Welcome student. Today we are going to discuss regarding the alkaloids. I am Dr. Devang R. Pandya, Department of Chemistry, St. Xavier's College Autonomous, Ahmedabad. Well, let's begin with the introduction of alkaloid. The year 1871 is considered as the birth year of alkaloid chemistry when Sertner obtained pure morphine, which he already described in 1806. The discovery stimulated others to investigate plants for the presence of alkaloids. Initially, well-known medicinal plants were studied, which led to the isolation of several other important alkaloids like imetine, strychnine, atropine, quinine, conine, etc. At that time, the chemists and pharmacists were mainly concerned with the purity and elemental analysis, and then subsequently to the structure elucidation. But the structures were too complicated, as already I have mentioned in my previous lecture. And due to this complicated arrangement of the structure, in most cases, the molecular structure to be elucidated, because physical and chemical methods are in the fantasy those days. As a result, the structural determination required in some cases, and more than 100 years, there should be the history I will going to show in the table in the next slide, where 100 years history is there for the alkaloid and its invention and related research work. After the structure determination, alkaloids were synthesized, which proved the structure to be correct. The first synthesis of alkaloid was that of the conine, the simplest at that time in 1886, 59 years after its isolation was reported from a plant. The structural determination required in some cases, as already I've said, that it is a history of 100 years. You can see morphine, imetine, strychnine, atropine, quinine, conine. They can be obtained from these sources: opium, psychotria, Ipacacuana, S. Noxvomica, A. balladonna, Cinchona bark, Calcium maculectum, and 1806 to 1827. These isolation years are there, and the structural elucidation is done years back, and the absolute configuration can be obtained up to this year, and pure synthesis form. See, the isolation is in the year 1806, synthesis in 1952. So you can see how much uh, work has been carried out between this period of time for the synthesis and isolation of the first ever medicine, that is morphine, from the natural plant, medicinal plant. Well, the definition of alkaloid are different kinds. So many different scientists gave their point of view to describe alkaloid and define alkaloid in their own way. So let us see different definitions associated with the alkaloid compound. Alkaloids are naturally occurring nitrogen containing organic compound with the exception of amino acids, peptides, purines and derivatives, purines and derivatives, amino sugars and antibiotics. The division of naturally occurring nitrogen containing substance into alkaloids and non-alkaloids is somewhat arbitrary. Meissner in 1819 introduced the term alkaloid, meaning alkali-like, which was defined as basic nitrogen containing compound isolated from plants. The definition, which covered a large number of variety of compound, kept changing from time to time. Koning's 1880 suggested modification of the term alkaloid to naturally occurring organic base having pyridine ring. This definition was considered too narrow as it embraced only a limited number of compounds and was therefore modified again by Lindbergh to natural plant compound having basic character and containing at least one nitrogen containing heterocyclic ring in it. This definition, however, includes synthetic organic compounds of basic nature and several other compounds obtained from animal sources. Alkaloids are now defined as basic nitrogen containing natural products, mostly optically active, and possessing nitrogen heterocycles at the structural unit and have a pronounced physiological action. So this is going to be the best definition as far as alkaloids are concerned. It is obvious that no definition of alkaloid is perfect, and there are compounds which are considered as an alkaloid but do not confine to definition, while there are other compounds which fit into the definition but are not classed as alkaloids. Some exceptions are given here. Colchicine, which is in our syllabus. Colchicine is regarded as an alkaloid, which is not a nitrogen heterocycle and is scarcely basic in nature, and yet it is considered as an alkaloid. That means an alkaloid which will not fit into the definition, yet classed as an alkaloid. On the other hand, thymine is not considered as an alkaloid, but it is universally distributed through it is a nitrogen containing heterocyclic base, vitamin B1, thymine hydrochloride, which fit into the definition but not considered as an alkaloid. Similarly, there are several compounds in which nitrogen atom is not a part of the ring but are classed as alkaloid. The examples are ephedrine, betaines, tryptamines, etc. Similarly, piperine isolated from black pepper is also called an alkaloid, though it is neither basic in character nor has any physiological action, and yet it is considered as an alkaloid, not fit into the definition but classed as an alkaloid. Similarly, caffeine, which satisfies the definition but it is not considered as an alkaloid. These are small things you need to keep it into mind when MCQs would be asked in the exam. Nomenclature of alkaloid. As far as this nomenclature of alkaloid is concerned, the system of nomenclature for the alkaloid is similar to that of other natural products. To date, up to now, no unique system has been developed for alkaloids, as IUPAC will going to give nomenclature to other compound with the rules and regulations. Similarly, there is no proper method, unique system yet developed for alkaloids. Here you have chance to develop one. One of the reason for this is the vast number of different skeletal types, because each alkaloid have different skeleton. There is not a similar pattern arises so that we can class them in one category. So that is one issue why the specific or unique nomenclature system has not been adopted or developed yet. In most cases, alkaloids are denoted by trivial names which are so popular that it is accepted long back by the entire world, and it is ended mostly as ine, indicating a nitrogen base. In case of several different alkaloids occurring in the same plant, the suffix idine, ni, anine, aline, inine, and so on are added to the principal name of the alkaloid. The name of the alkaloids are derived from the systematic botanical name of the source plant, and therefore some terminology will come from the botany itself, from the different genera, different family name. We need to remember those names to nomenclature the alkaloid compound. The name may be derived either from the genus, as already I've said, Papaverine from Papaver genus, or species name as Harmaline from Paganum, Paganum harmala. This is botanical name of any plant, and from that Harmaline would be the nomenclature assigned to alkaloid. Similarly, Papaver genus Papaveracea, from which Papaverine is the name assigned to the alkaloid. Some alkaloid derive their names from their physiological action, such as example morphine. The German word morphine means god of dreams, and emetin, that is a Greek word, smetikos, to vomit. So the drug, when you take, it will cause vomiting, therefore it is named as emetin. And the drug which you take and you feel that you are the king of the world, you are the god of the dreams, that is morphine. A few alkaloids have been named after their discoverer, as palaterin was named after P.J. Palater. Some alkaloids have been named by the transposition of a name, such as narcotine, farconine, cotanine, etc. Now occurrence. So when I already said to my students so many times, when you need to learn a chemistry of particular compound, you need to study the source from which the compound can be obtained, that is occurrence, its purification process, its structural elucidation, its physical chemical property and application. When you learn these things, 5 things, you can learn the chemistry of that compound. So here we are learning, we are trying to learn the chemistry of alkaloid, and in that one, this is important to learn from where we can get those alkaloid, how occurrence is taken place. The number of structurally different alkaloids is estimated to be around 60,000. Sorry, 6,000. Most of this alkaloid occurs in flora, around 1% in animals, and not more than 0.5% in fungi and bacteria. These alkaloids would be there as well. So main source is the flora, it's the plant and different part of plant. It is interesting to consider the occurrence of alkaloid containing plants within the botanical classification system. Of the estimated 20,000 plant genera, only 9% genera have alkaloid containing species, which occur mostly in genera belonging to dicotyledons and uh, monocotyledons of angiosperms, that is flowering plants. So out of 20,000 genera which is estimated, but out of them 9% genera will contain alkaloids, and those are from flowering plants only. Alkaloids have rarely been found in gymnosperms and pteridophytes. As far as phytochemicals is concerned, it has been suggested that in 40% of all the plant families, at least one alkaloid containing species is known. On the other hand, there are plant families, Papaveracea, in which all species contains alkaloid. All species means everything contains alkaloid. The distribution of alkaloid in flora is not uniform. Alkaloid may occur in several parts of plant like roots, stem, bark, leaves, fruit, seeds, nothing left. In some cases, alkaloid have been isolated from all parts of plant like Papaver somniferum and a belladonna, whereas in other cases they have been found only in one part. The alkaloids of Apheladra squarosa are also found in only roots. The number of structurally different alkaloids varies from plant to plant. For example, Catranthus roseans contains more than 100 alkaloids, whereas only the one alkaloid has been detected in Esquerosa. Quite often, the ratio of the components of the alkaloid mixture is different in different parts of the plant. Now, extraction and isolation of alkaloid. In the extraction and isolation of alkaloids are found in plant of various organic acid present in the plant like oxalic acid, tartaric acid, malic acid, lactic acid and tannic acid. Isolation of alkaloids is normally a tedious process because alkaloids bearing plant generally containing a complex mixture of related alkaloids. Besides a variety, other products like glycosides and organic acids, etc., are present in the plant which further complicate the separation. So separation technique is little bit difficult. So we have to bifurcate it into two parts. So we have different steps which involved in the isolation of alkaloid. Detection of alkaloid in plants. A small amount of plant material is extracted with the methyl or ethyl alcohol is tested for the presence of alkaloid by several available methods. This is part 1 where we will do only detection of alkaloid from the plant material. What kind of tests are there? Mayer's test. What we need to do in Mayer test? A specimen containing alkaloid gives cream or pale yellow precipitate with Mayer's reagent. Now you need to understand what Mayer's reagent is. We're going to discuss later. Drag-and-drop test. This gave orange precipitate with an alkaloid containing specimen when we expose it to drag-and-drop reagent. A brown or reddish brown precipitate is formed when an alkaloid containing sample is treated with this Wagner reagent. And similarly, a special yellow colored precipitate is obtained by action of Hager's reagent on alkaloid. And finally, an alkaloid containing specimen produce flocculent pink precipitate with ammonium ranitide reagent, and on the base of that the name has been given. I just want from your side the chemicals used for this different taste. Try to find out. Now this is the general extraction of the alkaloid. A B part, how to identify and extract the alkaloid. You can see a powder plant material. We need to take into specific amount so the quantitative calculation can be done. We can mix it with either methanol, acetic acid, or even certain cases ethanol can be used as well. And when we mix these three together, plant material dried powder form with methanol in acetic acid or either with ethanol in acetic acid, we're going to get the salt of alkaloid hydroacetate, which is soluble in methanol. That salt of alkaloid hydroacetate then further treated or combined, that filters are evaporated and the residue is treated with 1% of HCl. Then the chlorophyll and other natural or acidic compounds and neutral alkaloids can be extracted with an organic water immiscible solvent such as either ether or dichloromethane, etc. And then after the remaining acidic solution or aqueous layer is rendered basic with potassium carbonate, liberating the free alkaloid, which are now extracted with ether dichloromethane to yield the crude alkaloid. Finally, this crude alkaloid can be isolated by precipitation as water insoluble salts such as picrate with picric acid or as renicates with ammonium renicates, followed by displacement of the complex anion with chloride. Then after the crude alkaloids is treated and the pure alkaloid may be obtained by chromatographic separation method in a small scale if we require, and for large scale separation usually it is carried out by fractional crystallization of salt such as sulfate, oxalate, uh, tartrates, etc. And that is how a pure form of alkaloid from the plant material is going to be obtained. A general method of the extractions. Several methods are developed. Already we have discussed this in the previous slide, so I'm not going to include. Now, physiological action and role of alkaloid in plant. Why plant produce alkaloid in it? So we need to understand its physiological action and role of this alkaloid within the plant. Then we can understand that how this alkaloid benefits to us as far as medicinal properties is concerned. Alkaloid can be described as a product of secondary plant metabolism like other natural products. Examples are flavonoids, terpenoids, and steroids. It has been generally accepted that alkaloids are end products of metabolism and are waste product of plant. Recently, however, it has been shown that alkaloids are involved in a dynamic process. For example, the amount of alkaloid aconine in uh, Conum maculatum varies during a single day as well as during the course of the development of the plant. We're going to find different amount of alkaloid in this plant. There have been similar observation of atropine in belladonna and opium alkaloids in P. seminiferum. It has been demonstrated by isotope labeling experiments that half-life turnover rate of this alkaloid in the plant is short. This confirms that plants do metabolize alkaloid, and therefore the theory that they are metabolic end product is no longer tenable. The role of alkaloid in alkaloid containing plants is still a matter of speculation. It must be noted that plants carry out most of their activities normally without involving alkaloid in it. It has been shown in few cases that alkaloid containing plants are protected against consumption by animals. On the other hand, both alkaloid free and alkaloid containing plants can be attacked by parasite, fungi, and bacteria. In contrast to their role in plants, the function of alkaloid in insect is much more established. For example, cocoinlin which is tricyclic alkaloid, N-oxide, is produced by the beetles of cochineal. I just do not know how to pronounce it, and is used as a defensive alomon against the predators. Most of the alkaloids are colorless, non-volatile, solids soluble in polar organic solvent but insoluble in water. Some alkaloids are water-soluble liquids such as quinine and nicotine, and few are colored, like berberine is yellow-colored solid compound. They are bitter in taste and mostly optically active and especially levorotatory. Most of the alkaloids contain at least one tertiary nitrogen atom as a part of the ring system, and oxygen is also present in most of the alkaloids. Optically active alkaloids are commonly used for resolving racemic mixture of carboxylic acids. Classification of alkaloid. As far as this classification of alkaloid is concerned, alkaloids have been classified in several ways, but still the classification of alkaloid is arbitrarily owing to the difficulty in classifying them into distinct groups. Long before the structure of alkaloids were known, they were grouped under the name of family or genus of the source plant, such as uh, Solanaceous alkaloids, Papillion, Acacius alkaloids, Ephedra alkaloids, Cinchona alkaloids, etc. Taxonomic classification is there as well. Alkaloids have been classified according to their use or physiological action. For example, analgesic alkaloids, cardiovascular alkaloids, etc. Pharmacological classification is there. Later on, the structure of alkaloids became known. They were classified into different groups under the name of a non-compound. Since their skeleton appears in structure of alkaloid, chemical classification is there as well. When more is learnt about a certain alkaloid, the grouping is changed into reflect new knowledge. Based on metabolic pathways, they are divided into different groups by their common precursors used to construct the molecules, or biosynthetic classification is there as well. Alkaloids are divided into three categories depending on their biogenic origin. Alkaloid derived from amino acids other than phenylalanine are called true alkaloids. This definition would be asked, what is the true alkaloids? You need to keep it into mind. I repeat again, alkaloids are divided into three categories depending on their biogenetic origin. Alkaloid derived from amino acid other than phenylalanine are called true alkaloids. Those derived from phenylalanine are called proto-alkaloids, while remaining ones, such steroidal or purine alkaloids, are called pseudo-alkaloids. I repeat again, uh, those derived from the phenylalanine are called proto-alkaloids, while remaining ones, such as steroidal and purine alkaloids, are called pseudo-alkaloids. The alkaloids can be classified chemically into numerous groups according to the nature of the nucleus present in an alkaloid. Most of these classes contain nucleus of nitrogen containing heterocyclic ring, but some of the compounds are named by non-nitrogenous one as well. Some of the most important class of alkaloids are given over here, like pyridine group, pyrrolidine group, tropane group, iodolysine lysidine group, quinoline group, isoquinoline group, phenanthrene group. These groups are based on the skeleton of the alkaloid, main structure of the alkaloid. Phenyl ethylamine group, indole group, Indole group have this category. Purine group is there. Terpenoid group is there. Ac- aconitum, aconitum group is there. Steroid group and quaternary ammonium compounds. So this way the classification of alkaloid has been carried out. Now method for structure determination of alkaloid. With the discovery of IR spectroscopy, identification of functional group in a compound became efficient and required very small quantity of compound. But before that, the structure determination of alkaloid is in a principle same as that of any other organic compound. Prior to the development of the spectroscopic method, structural elucidation of organic compound was tedious and time-consuming process. For example, the structure determination of benzene needed decades of hard work. Simple, well-known reactions were used to find out functional group present into the compound. And therefore, this discovery of IR spectroscopy and other spectroscopy become a very fine tool for the chemist to identify the structure of a complex compound. Development of new spectroscopic technique like UV, visible, NMR, mass spectrometry, and further improved new different techniques. That process of identification make the work of the chemist little bit easier. For about 4 decades, the data obtained by these methods was collectively used to elucidate the structure. It became possible to identify a small molecule without use of chemical method, but complex molecule needed spectroscopic method along with the chemical method. The structure still needed to be confirmed by the synthesis. X-ray crystallography and two-dimensional 2D NMR spectroscopy technique along have made it possible to identify a complex organic molecule beyond doubt without use of any chemical method. We will discuss here the chemical method used for the structural determination of organic compound, especially alkaloids, prior to the development of spectroscopic method. Molecular formula determination of a product is a must after each reaction. It gives very important information about the changes that have been taken place in a compound. First of all, qualitative analysis of the compound is done to identify the atom present in the compound. Combustion analysis data is then used to find out the empirical formula in it. Determination of molecular weight of the compound by Rast method then gives the molecular formula. And after getting the molecular formula, we need to do the calculation of double bond equivalent, that is briefed as DBES. The calculation of double bond equivalents is based on the fact that the formation of a double bond, sigma bond, or a ring decreases the molecular formula by 2 hydrogen atom. It is very important information for the structural determination of the compound. For a complex organic molecule have molecular formula CaHbNcOd. The number of double bond equivalents can be calculated by the expression dBe is equal to A minus B by 2 plus C by 2 plus 1. The number of ring present in a molecule can be calculated by chemical determining the number of unsaturated group, number of bonds present in it, etc. For example, the number of double bond for cuscohygrine having molecular formula C13H24 and 2O2 comes out to be 3 into bracket 13 minus 24 by 2 plus 2 by 2 plus 1. It has carbonyl group and no other functional group having a pi bond, so it must be having 2 rings. Now identification of the functional group present into the compound. We already learned in our previous lecture about this, but still we need to understand some short of identification. A simple chemical transformation are used for qualitative as well as quantitative estimation of various functional groups. Let's learn with the first one. Carbon-carbon multiple bonds, which is not there in the previous lecture. I have included over here. In the carbon-carbon multiple bonds, the number of carbon atoms and the number of non-aromatic carbon-carbon multiple bonds are especially reduced by treating the compound with reagent like bromine, halogen acid, or alkaline potassium permanganate. For example, pipric acid, that is C12H10O4, forms a tetrabromo addition product with bromine in carbon tetrachloride, showing the presence of either two olefinic or one acetylenic bond. Similarly, one molecule of bromine or hydrogen in the presence of a catalyst adds to quinine, confirming the presence of an olefinic moiety. So here you can see that this is carbon-carbon double bond, and by treating either bromination, hydrohalogenation, treating with cheminophore oxidation or reduction, we're going to identify the amount of carbon-carbon multiple bond in it. Now, as far as hydroxyl group is concerned, the presence of hydroxyl group is confirmed by the preparation of acetal or benzoate by treating the compound with acetic anhydride or acetyl chloride or benzoyl chloride respectively. In the presence of base, primarily and secondary amine also forms this derivative, and therefore acylation must be interrupted carefully in conjunction with the nature of nitrogen. For example, a compound molecular formula C10H15NO2 and having a secondary NH group forms a dibenzoyl derivative. It should be considered as having one hydroxyl group because amino group will also be benzoylated. The presence of hydroxyl group can also be confirmed by the common method like dehydration of oxidation. So this treatment has been shown over here. The number of hydroxyl group can also be confirmed by alkaline hydrolysis of acetate derivative with a non-volume of 1 normal NaOH solution. Amides are not hydrolyzed under mild condition, that you need to keep into mind. The number of hydroxyl groups are calculated from the amount of alkali compound. For example, adrenaline forms a tetraacetate when treated with acetyl chloride. The tetraacetate consumes 3 equivalent of NaOH when hydrolyzed, thus confirming the presence of 3 hydroxyl group in adrenaline. That is the way we can quantify the amount of hydroxyl group into the compound. Alcoholic and phenolic groups are determined by treating the compound with ferric chloride, which produce characteristic color with phenol. Also, phenol get dissolved in sodium hydroxide, forming sodium salt, which can be reprecipitated with carbon dioxide. Compound having catechol moiety produce green color with ferric chloride. So these are certain things that you need to keep into mind as far as the MCQ related to these theories is concerned. Now the presence of a carbonyl group is confirmed by the reaction of a compound with hydroxylamine, semicarbazide, phenylhydrazine or 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine to yield oxime, oxime, semicarbazone, phenylhydrazone or 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazone respectively. Common oxidation and reduction reactions are used to differentiate between an aldehyde or ketone. So this way we can identify the presence of carbonyl group in it. As far as carboxylic group is concerned, its presence can be confirmed by treating the compound with sodium bicarbonate, which gives effervescence, or ammonia, which going to gives you the reaction. Carboxylic acid dissolve in the presence of this reagent due to formation of salt. Preparation of derivatives like ester is also used to confirm the presence of carboxylic group. Number of carboxylic group is quantified by the estimated or we can identify its number by titrating the compound with a standard solution of base. For example, one equivalent of sodium hydroxide will consume by a compound having one carboxylic group, and that is how you can identify and estimate the amount of carboxylic acid in the compound. As far as carboxylic acid derivative is concerned, the presence of an ester or lactane or amide or lactam group is confirmed by hydrolysis, uh, either through acidic hydrolysis or through basic hydrolysis or a simple hydrolysis of the compound and analyzing the product. For example, piperine, the molecular formula C17H19NO3 gives pipperic acid, that is C12H12O4, and piperidine, that is C5H11N, by alkaline hydrolysis, suggesting the presence of an amide moiety. Similarly, atropine, that is C17H23NO3, when heated with barium hydroxide solution, yield uh, tropic acid, that is C9H10O3, and an alcohol named tropine, that is C8H15NO, confirming it to be an ester. This was further confirmed by heating a mixture of tropic acid and tropine with hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, uh, which generated atropine. And that is how the carboxylic acid is not only identified but quantified as well. As far as methoxyl group are detected by heating the compound with hydroiodic acid at 126 degrees centigrade. I have already discussed in my previous lecture. When methyl ether are cleaved to give methyl iodide, which is absorbed by ethanolic silver nitrate when silver iodide is precipitated. The number of methyl groups can be calculated from the amount of silver iodide present into this reaction. Now, as far as methylene deoxy group is concerned, compounds containing this group yield formaldehyde when heated with an acid. The formaldehyde so produced is converted to a dimidone derivative, which is estimated gravimetrically, giving the information about the number of methylene deoxy group, and that is how it is not only identified but quantified as well, estimated as well. Now, as far as the nature of nitrogen atom is concerned, already we have a lot of discussion in our previous lecture, but the majority of alkaloid have nitrogen as a part of heterocyclic ring system. Though there are the example where nitrogen is present as a primary amino group or free amino group as well, several methods are employed to determine the nature of nitrogen present in an alkaloid. Formation of quaternary ammonium salt by treating an amine with methyl iodide is used to find out the nature of nitrogen. Tertiary amines from quaternary ammonium salt with one equivalent of methyl iodide, while secondary and primary amine from this salt with 2 and 3 equivalent of methyl iodide respectively can be identified as well. The nature of nitrogen atom and the number of methyl group, nature of nitrogen atom and number of methyl group attached to nitrogen are also determined by distillation of compound with aqueous potassium hydroxide when primary amines yield ammonia, while compounds containing secondary, or we can say as N methyl group or N ethyl groups, yield methyl amine and dimethyl amine respectively. The presence of methyl group attached to the nitrogen atom is also detected by heating compound with soda lime, which also gives methylamine. So that way we can identify the presence of N-methyl group into the compound.